I'm also going to record it so that way whoever missed it can watch the replay. What's up, Steven? Hey, Alex, Peggy, Sergio. What's up, guys? We're going to give this a few more minutes. I do not have the professional Zoom account, so my account ends at 40 minutes exactly. So that should be fun. So I'm going to try to keep it on 30 minutes. And if we go over a little bit, that's okay. But for some reason, we get to the end and I'll warn everybody it'll cut off, but hopefully we don't go 40 minutes. But I want to get started promptly. So I'm going to give it one more minute and then we'll go. See, I do need to figure out how to mute everybody though. That's okay. I'll just ask everyone to mute their own for me. So while we're waiting, actually it'd be great if you guys could put in the chat, if you could open up the chat, if you're on your phone, it should be at the bottom. If you could just type in where you're from, where you're watching this from, and also just real quick, it doesn't have to be long, just something that you're looking to learn. If it's a word, if it's a phrase, what is something you're looking to get out of this next 30-minute session? So put that in the chat. I'd love to see where everyone's watching from. Yeah, awesome, Stephen in Dallas. Peggy from my hometown, Montpelier, Ohio. I know Lee's in Indianapolis. Awesome. And then if you could put just maybe like a word, I know this might be something like, what are you looking to get out of, today's session? I know we're talking about vision boards. Some of you may actually have put together a vision board. But I want to know if what are you hoping to get out of today? So Peggy talked about to put it on a board. Okay, simple. If you just think of something that you like looking, if you just want to like learn something new, that's okay. Just say that. Mark, thanks for joining. We're actually, if you want to put on where you're watching from and something that you're looking to learn. So Lisa is talking about, been wanting to write a vision statement. I know for me, it's something that I want to always do. And then it's like, I get into June, I'm like, oh man, I want to do a vision statement for this year. So I totally get it. This is like carving out time for you. Awesome. Stephen wants to know how many goals to put into concrete actions or how to do that. Awesome. Visions that we have in place, make them happen. Love that. How to organize goals and narrow down. Okay, for the which ones are most important. Perfect. So those are awesome. Thanks, Terry, for hopping on. I'm going to mute everybody. Sorry about that. If you need to be unmuted for some reason, just wave your hand. And if you want, we'd love to see your smiling faces if you want to, but if not, no big deal. I love to see everybody's face. So yeah, in the chat, where you're from, what you're hoping to get out of it. This is a good group. Okay, good. So I want just a bit of a housekeeping. So I did mute everybody. I am recording this so you can watch it again if you want to. If you have your camera, turn it on. I'd love to see you. And then if you have a pen and paper close by, go get that because we are going to write. We're going to use this as working session. So I know that has been wanting to do something like this. So we're going to do a little bit of work. We're not going to do the whole thing. But make sure you get a pen and paper because we're going to do like 5 minutes of writing and deeper thought. I know it's 8 o'clock at night on the East Coast, but that's okay. Hopefully the conversation, the excitement that I have is going to get your mind going a little bit. And then hopefully you'll be able to sleep later tonight. But that's okay. We'll get started. So I love that everyone placed. I know we got people from all over the country here, Fort Lauderdale, Indianapolis, LaPorte, Indiana. I know Terry's in Tennessee. Mark's out in California. Dallas, Texas. So we got the whole United States, all coasts, all in the middle on this call. So thank you so much for spending time with me tonight. I am so excited about sharing this because it's something that I try to do once a year. And this year I actually did it. So I wanted to walk through kind of what I've learned along the way. And I think, when you think about a vision board, I like to think about the law of attraction. And when you begin visualizing something, you are attracting it into your life. And it's something that is really important in our lives as we go throughout our busy lives. And sometimes we want to put concrete, goals, like some of the people said in the chat, to achieve what we want. And we want to attract success. We want to attract maybe a partner in our lives. We want to attract maybe a specific amount of income or a specific amount of success or a new car, right? So when we put that down visually, we're activating that law of attraction to achieve your greatest dreams in life. Now, just show of hands who have their videos on. I mean, how many people have ever heard of a vision board? Just raise your hand so I can see you. Okay, most people. So how many of you have actually created a vision board in the past? A couple people. Lisa's she might have done a brief one. Okay, that's okay. No, this is good. That's why we're doing this. I think this is perfect. So I think, again, I have created probably about 4 or 5 vision boards throughout my life. And of course, they change over time. And they can have a period of time. And for tonight's purpose, I'm going to do a lifetime vision board. So through your whole life, what are some of the dreams that you have that you want to go after? We're all at different points in our lives, so that it's going to be very different for everybody. But I want to make sure to make this point that you could make a dream board just for this year only. For 2021, you could make a dream board just for what you want to accomplish this year. I love to think huge. And so I love to plan out my whole life on a vision board. And I like to put on, what do I want to accomplish throughout my whole life? So what I'm going to describe tonight is kind of going through the whole, envision from now into the rest of your life. What are some of the things that you want to attract into your life? However, if you want to, there's no rule to this. You can use this as putting something for 2021. What do you want to attract in your life for 2021? So that's really up to you. For the purposes of my conversation, I'm going to talk about my lifetime vision board. What do I want for my lifetime? And I like to think that a lot of times, I've come across this a lot. I've done a lot of coaching in my life. I've come across a lot of inspirational people. And I find I've even done this where we almost limit ourselves to our hopes and dreams. So sometimes when I was younger, I said, I want to make $100,000 in 1 year. And at the time, I was not even close to that. Well, then I found that I reached that point at one point in my career. And did that mean that I just stopped and I'm like, okay, I keep going, right? So if I make $100,000 in 1 year, does my vision change? Or do I want to make $1 million in 1 year in my lifetime? So I think the reason I say that is because we like to sometimes limit ourselves. Like, I want to drive a brand new car. Well, do you really want a brand new, I don't know, Cadillac or Range Rover or Lexus? I have no idea, Mercedes, BMW, or you just want a new car? So I think my whole point is, I like to think of limitless opportunity. So for the next 20, 30 minutes, we're going to open our minds to think about, money was no object, what do you dream about? What is your dream job? What is your dream income? Where's your dream house? And I love dreaming because I get so excited because this is your chance to play a little bit with your mind. And actually, one of my goals in 2021 was to play more. I carve out about 30 to 40 minutes in my morning just to play with my mind or tinker with something or just go outside and play. I mean, literally to become a kid again. I think that's really important, but I'll push that aside. But I think it's really important for us to, think bigger than we are. And I just want to make sure I've emphasized limits to make sure that we take limits off of our lives. I don't want you to put down if you're making $30,000 a year, to say, I want to make $35,000 a year. Well, guess what? You're going to eventually make that. So don't put down things that you're eventually going to do. You're probably just going to do those based off of inertia, based off of the way your life has been. So I want you to really put your dream cap on, right? How do you begin dreaming big? And so one thing to remember also is, and many of you do any of you write down goals on paper, like at the beginning of each week or each month or year? Okay, Lisa, okay, Sergio, Alex, okay, awesome. So, I think it's important for us when we write things down, and when you can actually attach a photo to it, your whole body subconsciously begins to work towards achieving that. You begin setting everything into motion, whether you know it or not, to go begin getting that. And I think that's so fascinating that oftentimes we forget that when we write down goals and dreams and what we're going to do in this vision board, we fail to remember that when we have something visually, there are little things happening in your brain, in your being, that are beginning to work in your advantage to manifest and attract the things that you want. So I think that's really important to remember through this conversation, that you are beginning to manifest, you're beginning to attract, your whole subconscious is going to work towards achieving this, right? And when this vision board that you're going to create serves as an image for your future. It's really the tangible representation of what you're going to have, of your dreams, of your goals, of your ideal life, right? It's really a visual stimulation, as I like to call it, by representing your goals with pictures and images. And by doing so, and by looking at this on a daily, maybe on a daily basis or a weekly basis, we'll go through that at the very end, you're stimulating your emotions. It's the vibrational energy that you're stimulating that activates the law of attraction. So that's really what you're doing here. And I like to think of it as a picture is worth 1,000 words. When you can attach a picture to, instead of just writing down in words, it goes far beyond what you're doing with writing in words. So, adding that visualization on a daily basis allows you to become more motivated to reach your goals because you can visually see it. Because a lot of times when we have goals, we write them down, like, I want to make a certain amount of money, or I have a dream car, a dream house. I want my family to be successful. Like, what is that? How does that look like? We can't visually see it, but when we can put an image to it, it triggers something in our brain to visually remember what that was. And then suddenly, as you're looking at that and studying that, you might find yourself beginning to volunteer to take more responsibility at work, or maybe you begin speaking out at staff meetings, or maybe you're directly asking for what you want in life instead of just hoping someone will find out one day, or taking more risks in your personal and professional life, experiencing bigger payoffs. So there's lots of benefits to this. And so I want to begin going through the 6 steps here. I've spent a little bit of time kind of setting it up, but I want to go through and begin the 6 steps. And the first step is creating a list of dreams that you have. And I want to spend about 5 minutes here because I think this is the most important part. Now, 5 minutes may not be enough for us to get through all that stuff, but I want you to get out your paper and a pen. And what I want you to do is, I've triggered some thoughts over the past 10 minutes by saying what I've said. There are things that have popped into your head. I want you to get those out on paper. And what I want for you to do is I want you to keep your pen on your paper the whole time. I don't want you to stop writing. Whatever comes to your mind that you want, I want you to write it down. So I want you to take the limits off. Remember that you have as much money as you need to get whatever you want. So money is not the factor here. It's about what you dream about. I want you to think about things like maybe your dream house, or maybe a dream room, or a pool that you want, or a location that you want to live. Maybe the amount of money that you want to earn in your final years of income earning, a car that you want to drive. Maybe it's a private jet you want to own. Maybe it's multiple homes, or you want to fly first class around the world, or stay in a castle in France, or maybe you want to fly to the moon. Or maybe if you have a family, you want your family's dreams to come true. You want to support your family and put all your kids through college and for you to retire in 5 years. So that's the idea. I want you to spend the next 5 minutes. I'm going to put a little timer on my phone, and I want you to write down what you dream about. Again, there's no perfect answer. So I want you to begin doing that right now, and I'll come back in 5 minutes. If you have any questions, put it in the chat for me. I had a really good question here. It says, what if your goals are internal and happiness related? Absolutely. So we were going to go through that at the very end and adding specific words to that. But I think I want you to write down those things like I have happiness, I want joy. But I also want you to think about what would create happiness and joy, because I think happiness and joy are sometimes intangible. What are specific things that you would be doing? Maybe it's you're doing yoga that makes you happy. Maybe it's driving along the coast of California in your brand new whatever. What things would make you happy? I know sometimes it's hard. I don't like to associate happiness with things, but I want you to visualize images of what happiness means to you and write what those images look like. Does that make sense? Have about a minute left. Okay. Awesome. That's 5 minutes. Awesome. So that's really the first step there. These are all just to write down words that are really important to you and things that you dream about. And I realize some of you, I led more with tangible items because I think that's the easiest thing to think about. For example, like I do want joy and I do want peace, and those are things that I ultimately want. However, I know that there are certain things in life that I do aspire to. I do want a dream home one day, right? I do want to drive a specific type vehicle. I do also want joy, right? So those are all things combined into those into the elements of that. And not to say that money's going to give me happiness, because I truly don't believe that. But as a human being, those are fun things. Like, I want those things, right? Do I want a career that I'm extremely happy doing? Absolutely. So that was just really the first thing to really think about. So that's step one, and you've done step one. If you need to spend more time doing this, take some time later, make a meeting with yourself over the weekend. That's awesome. So now you have an idea. So here's step two. Step two is beginning to find which one's the most important to you. So maybe you wrote down a list of 50 things, or maybe you wrote down a list of things. Find the things that are most important to you. You may have to do some prioritizing, but find the biggest things that are the most important to you. And then I want you to, and there's two different ways to do this. You can collect a bundle of old magazines or newspapers. Now, I know most people probably don't have a bunch of new magazines and newspapers laying around. I get that. So you can do it the old school way, where you can get a piece of paper as big as you want. And what I want you to do is, I want you to begin finding pictures that represent your goals and the things that inspire you. So now what we're doing is we're taking the things that you wrote down on your list and you're associating an image with that. So this is where it becomes the things that are not tangible. What does pure joy look like for you? What image in your mind pops up? So, and those, if you want to do it from old magazines and newspapers, feel free. However, what I did is I decided to do it all electronically. I opened up a Word document. And then I literally just took screenshots or saved images of things. I Googled images that I wanted to find. So if I wanted a specific car, I found that car online, I copied the image and I put it on my Word document and I made a collage. And I'll show you exactly what I've done at the end. But actually, that's what I'll do. I'll share my screen right now for you guys so you guys can see it. Let's do share this. Okay, can you all see that? I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this is exactly what I did. Obviously, you can see my car in the middle, but I created things like, one day I would love to earn $1 million in revenue from my businesses. I would love to live to be 100 years old. I want to be super fit. So you can see that the aged man with the gray hair, he looks pretty hot. I'm like, okay, well, I would love to be like 80 years old and fit as possible and do it through holistic wellness, right? For me, holistic wellness is so important in my life. I would love to have a child one day with a partner. You can see the blank section there is who knows who that person looks like yet. I would love to have a pool, an infinity pool. I would love to aspire 1 million people one day. And so that's why I talk about in the upper left-hand corner, living a fulfilled life. I would love to fly in a jet that has a bed and I can actually fall asleep in a bed. I mean, I think that'd be amazing. And then my map is, I literally want to visit every single country in the world. So here's my map. So that's my vision board. I literally just Googled these images and found them and then I made a collage, right? I literally made and pasted a collage over, over a Word document, and then I just made a PDF over it. So now, let's see, I don't know how to get off of I have no idea how to stop sharing the screen here. Does anybody know how to do it?
If you go to the bottom of your screen, there should be a button that will say stop sharing. It'll be red.
Huh. That's all right.
Sometimes what happens is it sits in the section where you have your files at the bottom, depending on what kind of device you're using, and so it looks like it's blended in. You can't see it, but it's
Did it go away for you? Can you still see it?
We can still see it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We can still see you too, by the way.
Oh,
it's
good.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Maybe. There we go. I see what happened. Okay. Cool. We're back. You can see me. So literally, hopefully that gave you a better idea of what I'm talking about. So that's really step two, is finding pictures that represent the things that you want. And again, maybe instead of, focus on how the images make you feel. So for those of you that really want to focus on joy and happiness, find an image that makes you feel a certain way. And that's what you want to include, right? So for instance, I put a picture of inspiring 1 million people, but yeah, there's literally a million people, but I put a quote up there because that quote's going to remind myself that that's something that I ultimately, I want to inspire people. So for me to inspire other people, I put that little quote with the guy's hands up there, and that was me trying. And my goal is to inspire 1 million people. I like to make it, I like to quantify it, right? Because if you don't quantify certain things, well, then if I just want to inspire others, well, if I inspired the 6 or 10 of you on the call, okay, then I've met my life goal, right? You get my point. So I like to put a number to that, right? So I'm very big on quantifying certain things. Anyway, so those are the, I think you all get, you know, when you're finding images that represent what you wrote on your list. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, good. So that's step 2. And then I actually already went through steps 3, really, is make a collage, right? So that's literally what you're doing, is you're finding images that represent how you feel, the things that you dream about, the things that you want. And you could cut them out if you find an image in a magazine and literally glue it to a piece of paper, old school method, right? Or you can do what I did and do it all electronically. And I think they actually have like PicCollage, or they have all these apps online that you can actually do this in a nice fancy way. I like to have things overlap. So anyway, and then the 4th step here is, if you want, add motivational affirmation words to represent how we feel. Maybe you want to add the word joyful or abundant or powerful or fearless or loved, right? Or strong, healthy. So those are things are financially free, right? You can add those words. Maybe you hand draw it on the thing, or maybe you type it out and put it in bold letters. So you can put those on your vision board. I think those are really important for you to, as you visually look at this, to remember what your dream and your vision really is. And then the last step, I said there were 5, I said there were 6 steps, there really are 5 steps. But the last step here is finding a way for you to contemplate this vision board every day. I think to get the benefit of what you're doing in your work, I think it's important for you to place this somewhere that you can see it every day. For example, that image that you saw is on my desktop. So every time I log into my computer, it's something that I visually see every day. I actually want to get a big blow up and put it on my wall. So when I walk into this room every morning, it reminds me, and I can see different images, and it reminds me, remember, manifesting, when you begin manifesting and planting those seeds in your brain, you're subconsciously beginning to work towards all those goals. And, you know, it might be something where you put on, maybe you put it on your nightstand, or maybe you put it on your mirror in your bathroom. I don't know, but put it in a place where you can maybe see it at least twice a day. You know, I think that's really important. Another tip or trick here is, some people review this at night before they go to bed, because when it's top of mind as you're falling asleep, you know, it could actually help your subconscious while you sleep, and your subconscious mind begin to come up with ideas of how to achieve these things while you're sleeping. You can wake up in the morning bursting with motivation, ready to succeed. And I think that's really another tip that you could do, to something maybe first thing when you wake up in the morning, or also when you go to bed. So those are really the 5 steps to creating a vision board. Is, again, making sure that you don't have limits is the biggest, I think, tip that I would love to portray to all of you, is that sometimes we like to limit ourselves, but remember, we can do anything that we want to do if we put our mind to it. Honestly, if you want to manifest a partner, if you want to manifest a home, if you want to manifest joy and happiness, if you want to manifest a specific type of career, you can do all those things. But oftentimes we like to limit ourselves. Well, take the limiter off. Take the limiter off of that and dream big. And remember that I think it's really important that, you know, as time goes by, you begin to achieve these goals. Again, you could do this for just 1 year if you want to do a 2021 vision board. Or what I've done is I've done a whole life vision board, something that I'm going to achieve throughout my whole life. Look at those images. Remind yourself of what you feel like when you see that image that represent your future achievement, right? How much gratitude do you have for those images? And also, it's something that's going to help you with the law of attraction, right? You're going to attract what you visibly and visually see on that vision board. And you're going to go begin to achieve that. You're going to set everything into motion. All the fibers in your being are going to be set in motion to begin achieving what you set out to do. Awesome. So I have a little special, if you guys want me to, if you want to share this with me, I know Jesse on here, Wyrick, has also already shared me her vision board. But if you are interested in having more of a one-on-one and you want to share this with me, I'm happy to carve out time out of my day, maybe even next week. And I'm going to give you my email address. Some of you already have it. It's in the chat now. But feel free to email this to me. I think it's really powerful when you can actually share this with somebody. If you don't want to share it with me, that's okay. Maybe share this with a partner or a friend or a relative, someone that you really care about, because I think when you can tell someone else about it, you're almost holding yourself accountable to it. And I'm willing to be that person for you if you want a complete stranger, or if some of you are my friends, but I'm willing to do that for you. So if that's something that you want to do, take me up on my offer. I'm happy to carve out 30 minutes. You can literally, what I did, I read my vision board to you. I would love for you to read your vision board back to me and explain to me what those images mean and why. And I think it's also amazing for when you can say it out loud, it begins to ingrain that in your brain. Another method of also when you're listening, you're visualizing when you see it, you're also hearing yourself say it. And I think it's interesting if you may say something with like low volume and low tone, well, maybe that's not something that you should your vision board because you're not really into it. So I think that's really another way of saying, is this something that I really want, or is it something that maybe I thought I wanted? Like for me, I wanted to work in corporate America for forever. I want to be the CEO of a Fortune 50 company. That was something I wanted. Lisa probably knows this. I was going to like conquer the world. I mean, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, that would be on my vision board. Well, I probably wouldn't have said that with vigor and with like, enunciating and just to own it. I would probably have said, yeah, I want to be the CEO of a Fortune 50 company. That's different than saying, oh my gosh, I seriously want to lead a company one day and be a Fortune 50 company one day. That's so different. So think about that as you communicate what's on your board to somebody, and maybe you need to make an adjustment. So I'll take me up on that offer if you're willing. Shoot me an email and maybe make it a goal to complete this over the next 72 hours. I know often, Lisa, you know what I'm talking about. We say that we want to complete something, but then it becomes June and we're like, oh, remember back in January, I wanted to complete my vision board. So make it a goal. Maybe set an hour aside tomorrow on Friday afternoon that says complete my vision board and finish it within 1 hour. And then maybe if you want to set some time with me, email it to me and say, Corey, if you do it on paper, just take a picture of it and send it to me. And then let's set up some time to go through that. Awesome. So I think, does anybody else, I'm going to unmute everybody. Does anybody else if anybody has a question top of mind, raise their hand or leave it in the chat. If not, we can end. But I'm so thankful for all of you hopping on here. It's amazing to see all your faces. And I just wish you joy and happiness and the best in 2021. It's a new year. And I'm just so thankful that you spent 30 minutes out of your night to listen in and participate. So again, I'm willing to chat with any of you after this if you want. If not, keep me updated how you're doing throughout the year. Maybe put a calendar invite in 6 months from now to say, message Corey to let him know how I'm doing. I would love to hear from you, just to remind yourself to do that. Awesome. You guys have an amazing night. You're all beautiful. You are all worthy. You're all enough. Give someone a hug for me, and just tell someone that you love them. I love to share positivity and spread that. I like to end all my calls with that. Just remember that sometimes when we're even in a room like this, we think that we all know how we feel about each other, like at Christmas or Thanksgiving or a birthday party or when you're at home or at work. But I want you to go, that's your task for the next 24 hours, is just tell someone how much they mean to you. Give them a hug, or if you can't, with a mask, just maybe send someone a text message or give someone a call. I think I'd love to spread the power of positivity in the world. So thanks so much for joining me. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you.